like you saw guys from the top of the video, today is a Q&A answering the questions that I gathered from you guys over on Instagram to answer here in depth on YouTube. Now I got a lot of questions going into this one, and some of them range from like stuff about me personally to stuff that has to do with like health and fitness. So we're gonna be all over the spectrum here with stuff. But today it's like nice and cloudy. It's finally cool in New York City. I'm sitting here super cozy. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, sit down, we're doing some Q&A. All right. First question is, can creatine make you gain weight? So the short answer to this is yes, it can make you gain weight, but it can't make you gain body fat. Creatine by itself isn't going to increase your body fat. That being said, creatine can increase water retention within your muscles, which can increase your scale weight. So can it make you gain weight? Yes, but know that that weight is coming from water weight within your muscles. So if part of the reason you didn't want to take creatine is that you're worried it's going to make you gain weight, know that it is not body fat that it will make you gain, and it is okay. Next question here, how to reduce body fat percentage if I'm already slim? Deficit? Question mark. So the short answer to that as well is yes, being in a deficit is the only way to lose body fat. That being said, if you feel that you're already slim and you still have fat to lose, this might be like a skinny fat situation where you don't have much muscle on your body. So even though you are losing fat, you're not necessarily revealing the physique that you want to see because of the lack of muscle you have on your body. So a couple ways to go about that. You could either continue staying in a deficit, continue cutting until you get to a point of leanness that you're happy with, or you could try and start to build muscle so that the next time you put yourself in a deficit, you have more muscle to be revealed, so to speak, at the end of that cut. Which do you prefer, a full-out cheat day or a cheat meal? Now, I have an entire video all about cheat meals and cheat days here on the channel, which I will throw somewhere up here. It'll pop up right now. So if you haven't seen that, check that out for like a super in-depth, long answer about that. But for the sake of this video, I will say just a cheat meal. If I have to decide between all-out cheat day and cheat meal, we're going meal. Favorite outdoor workouts? I am lucky enough to live close to Tompkins Square Park here in the city, and there is an amazing like body weight gym out there, which is super nice, especially during like the lockdown here in New York City when gyms were closed. I was able to go there and just do body weight workouts outside. So to that end, what are my favorite outdoor workouts? Things that I can do with my body weight, preferably there's a bar, I can do like pull-ups and that type of thing. Because I think that's kind of what the question is asking, but favorite outdoor workouts in general, sports of any kind, basketball, roller hockey, soccer, baseball, anything. I love playing sports, any sport that is played outside, I'll throw on here. Okay, how to identify failure or close to failure? Now I'm assuming that this is within a set of an exercise. So I would say the way to identify failure or getting close to failure is when you're hitting the point of what I would call technical failure. So as soon as your form starts to seriously dip on any given set, that's kind of your failure point. For example, on a bench press, if you're able to get the full range of motion, bar all the way to your chest and up, and then by the 8th rep of a 10 rep set, you come down and you can only get to about here. You can't get that full range of motion anymore. That means you're kind of done with the set. There isn't going to be much left in the tank there. You've hit technical failure, not reaching full range of motion. So that's how I would figure out where failure is for you. And as always, don't push yourself to the point of failure where it becomes dangerous, all right? Okay, we have another body fat question here, and it is, I've been losing weight, but belly fat seems too hard to get rid of. That is a very common point for most people, and generally where you hold on to fat, the last part, like if you've been cutting for a while and you feel really lean all over, but you still feel like you kind of have a little bit of a gut. If you're a guy, generally, that is in the like lower abdominal region, kind of that donut, as it's called, around your waistline, above your waistline. And for females, that tends to be more in the hips, thighs, and butt. Those are generally like the last place, the sticking point spots where the fat seems to come out last. And the reality situation is that a lot of that is just genetic. You're just gonna have to keep on going. I know it's frustrating, but if your goal is to really get rid of that last little bit of fat on your stomach, just continually be in a deficit for a long enough period of time. Make sure you're strength training, eating adequate protein, all the same things that got you to lose fat up on your arms and your chest are the same thing that's gonna make you lose fat on your stomach. What can I use instead of sugar? Any recommendation? I'm assuming this is coming from the standpoint of like you want to cut back on sugar in your diet, and you're looking for maybe a fake sugar type thing. As far as those things go, stevia is probably your best bet. It's a slippery slope getting into the artificial sweeteners thing. There isn't a whole lot of data that supports that they're that bad for you. That being said, we don't really have the long-term aggregate data to see whether or not they are bad for you with artificial sweeteners, that is. So when in doubt, I would stay natural, or as natural as you can be if your goal is to eliminate sugar. All right, next on to the more personal questions, things about me. It's always fun to answer questions that are not necessarily directly tied to health and fitness, because obviously there are things that I enjoy and things that I do that are not directly tied to this, and being able to express those in some capacity on this channel is always enjoyable for me. So anytime I do these question answer type videos, feel free to ask me whatever you want. Odds are I will answer it. So with that being said, this first question is, what is your favorite New York City memory? After the first year I lived here, I hadn't really left the city much at all right when I moved here, and I was here for months without having even left Manhattan really. And I went on a trip out of the city, and I remember coming back and taking the train into Penn Station, and I remember walking up the stairs out of Penn Station. Now, for any New Yorkers who are watching this, Penn Station absolutely sucks. That's not the good part of the memory. The good part was leaving Penn Station. So I remember coming up the stairs out of Penn Station, and there's one exit out of Penn Station on, I want to say 7th Avenue, and I remember coming up the stairs and looking up, and you've got like all the Madison Square Garden stuff, and the Empire State Building was right there, and it was nighttime, and everything was lit up, and there were cabs going back and forth, and I remember having this really serious feeling of like, whew, I'm home. This is amazing. And that was the first time that I'd like left the city and come back and felt like, oh, this is home. So that is probably my favorite NYC memory. Next question here is, what motivates you? Is probably the fact that, at least recently, is the fact that, you know, I'm self-employed and that no one is gonna come and pick up the pieces if I don't do the work. That fear, I guess, of losing that is a pretty motivating factor, but I would say more than that, I am probably a little competitive to a fault, and I am very motivated by competition. So when I see other people doing things, whether that's, you know, making content or like building their business or whatever it may be, that's like very motivating to me. As much as I kind of wish it wasn't a motivating factor, I can get really competitive in that regard. So competition absolutely motivates me as well. What do you love most about your career? No question, it's the fact that I get to help so many people in different ways. When I started this, when I got into training, when I got into health and wellness and nutrition and fitness and all this stuff, the big reason I did it was to help people. I saw what a tremendous effect it had on me in my life when I was able to prioritize my health and really focus on these things. And I knew that all I wanted was to help other people find the same type of joy and love in prioritizing their health and their wellness. So being able to do that and work with such amazing people all over the globe, both online and then like in person here in New York City, is an incredibly rewarding feeling, knowing that, you know, I get to go to bed every night at least feeling in some way that like I helped at least one person become a slightly better version of themselves. Who is your role model and why? I'm gonna say my dad. You know, as I've gotten older, I've been able to really appreciate him, not just as like my dad, but also as like an individual that has done some incredible things. He lost his own dad when he was 9 years old. He put himself through college, moving furniture. You know, he did not come from anything at all, and was able to create an incredible life and childhood and all the rest of it for me and my family. And that's incredibly motivating to me to see. And, you know, now as he's 60 years old, he runs a sled hockey league for disabled veterans. He's just an incredible human, and I see him be there for, you know, himself and my family and his community and all these things. And he's really everything that I would want to end up being. So he's probably not even gonna watch this, but My dad. I would say my dad is my biggest role model. Next question, kind of a funny question here. Are you a model? I'm not like signed to any modeling agency. I appreciate this. I'll take it as a compliment. I'd be lying if I said that I haven't done any modeling in the past, because I have, but that's not like a career path that I've like really actively pursued. But it is something that I have dipped my toe into every now and then. Final question that I'm going to answer here in this week's Q&A is, what is my self-care routine? So for me, I guess I'll think about it kind of globally, things that I prioritize about myself that ends up leading to my own self-care. So first and foremost is sleep. I prioritize sleep like a crazy amount, especially since getting my Oura Ring here, which, by the way, if you haven't seen the review of that, I will throw right there so you can watch that if you haven't already. But prioritizing my sleep has been huge for me. In addition to sleep, you know, I do admittedly hold myself to a pretty high standard. I'm not gonna shy away from that. I work out several times a week. Right now, that looks like strength training 3, maybe 4 days a week. I run maybe 2-3 days a week as well. And then right now we're in a bit of an off season, but I also play hockey at least once a week as well. And those are all things that, you know, physically are part of my self-care, but also mentally. Those are like non-negotiable things in my life that I really enjoy, that kind of make me feel like me and feel really centered. But, you know, in terms of other self-care stuff, you know, I watch TV. I love to read. I try to hit 2 books a month every month. So I read a lot, and I make sure to just like take time for myself. But that is the end of this week's Q&A. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed kind of doing it in a longer form, not like rushing through. I feel like a lot of the times when I make these videos, there's kind of this feeling of like, you gotta be quick and snappy because YouTube, people lose attention and all the rest of it. But, you know, I wanted to make this like a nice, like chilled out, hanging out with you guys right now type of video, so I hope that came through. And as always, guys, make sure to leave the video with a like, comment any questions that you might have for me if I didn't get to them here in this video. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe as well. We are really creeping our way up to 200 subs. I appreciate you guys all immensely, and I will catch you guys in the next one.